me that there are a lot of people that are very passionate about this issue. I wish that folks in Washington would have focused on the things we agree on and actually done something to focus on cutting costs, because we are really at a critical juncture in this country, in this economy. You know, unemployment in Ohio is now 10.5%, and what we need is small business to create jobs. And the problem with what happened in this healthcare bill is that they made it more expensive for folks, especially in small business, to create jobs.
There's not a government program in the history of mankind that has come close to the budget estimates that they've made. I mean, you've heard this your entire life. The problem is the game is a game changer now. There's a $60 trillion unfunded liability, and the people that have run up that $60 trillion have now come up with the solution. What do we need to do? We need to expand that solution. Margaret Thatcher said the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. That's the whole problem here, right? The problem is we don't have children that are going to be able to afford this. So we can sit there and we can continue to say, oh, I've got some budget, I've got a bunch of bean counters in Washington, they tell me this and they tell me that. Go back and take a look at Medicare Part D. It's already twice that, and that was just passed a decade or so ago. The only way I know the government can really wring costs out of anything is by price fixing or rationing. Okay? Neither one of those is going to improve the system. Look at it, there's 3% of the population that's truly uncovered. They use this 47 million, but if you really take a look at it, it whittles down to 9 million. And I think what America should be focused on is caring for those 9 million truly needy, instead of taking the system that's already given us a $60 trillion deficit and even increase it.
Saying, no, it's not constitutional, but the... Unfortunately, we exist at a time in history where that does not matter to the people in Congress. There's too much water under the bridge now. We're too far down the path. I mean, can we redeem it? Yes, but they can brush that constitutional argument aside. The constitutionality issue is difficult because for the last 100 years, Congress, the federal government, has gone way beyond the enumerated powers of the Constitution to do whatever they feel like doing. And so it's very difficult to back the train up. Sherrod Brown, I believe, and Howard Dean, when I talked to them at the town halls they held, both essentially said, well, this was settled with Social Security, the constitutionality of it. That was the answer I got. It was set up to be able to create an environment where we could be free as possible. Now that obviously hasn't happened, but the heart of the argument, I believe, is healthcare a right? Or is it a good and a service? And my position, and I believe the true position, is that it's actually, healthcare isn't even a product. It's a complex combination of goods and services, all of which are affected by supply, demand, scarcity. To fundamentally look at how health insurance and healthcare services are provided in this nation, not talk about shifting dollars here and there. We need to address the fundamental problems, and it exists in how it's being provided currently, that the government has been involved. We need to back the government out, allow the free market to reign. We are scared of liberty in this country. We are scared of freedom. That's the bottom line. People are afraid. What happens if the citizens have too much freedom? Let's find out, shall we?
Is a system where we have 50 different insurance markets. Each state's got its own insurance market. Different insurers are in those markets. Different prices are in those markets. And one of the major problems we have right now is insurers are not permitted to compete across state lines. You can't move coverage across state lines, and it dramatically reduces competition because we have those 50 different insurance markets. Nothing that's being talked about in Washington now would impact on that system. One of the things that could be done, rather than the reforms that are being suggested, is allow interstate competition in the insurance markets, and that might have a dramatic impact. I'm going to just use one quick illustration. A friend of mine's a nationally known healthcare economist, and she lived here in Columbus until about a year ago, and she said, Bill, I couldn't believe it. She moved to Hilton Head, South Carolina. She said, I'm paying 4 times as much for the same coverage at Hilton Head as I am in Ohio, as I did in Ohio. And I said, well, why is that? She said, well, in Ohio, at least you have some competition. In South Carolina, there's no competition. There's one carrier Palmetto Blue Cross Blue Shield, and that's it. I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I believe the Congress and the administration are going to enact health care reform. We are going to have it. It may not be as robust a program as they would like, but they're going to do something, declare victory, and then they're going to throw the mess in the laps of each state to try to fix. What is that going to mean for Ohio? I think what it's going to mean for Ohio is we, as our sister states, are going to be required to adopt what is basically referred to as a Massachusetts model plan.
The message I would want to take home from here is just history. Take a look at what we've already done. Okay? Take a look at your children. Okay? The way you bring great countries to their knees is you do exactly what we've done. The Greeks, the Romans, the British, the French. Okay? You spend yourself into oblivion. That's the weakness of a democracy. The moment people figure out they can vote for the other people's money, they will. And if we keep encouraging it, we are going to leave our children in America that is unrecognizable.
About 3 months ago, I had a daughter, Sarah, and the minute she was born, she owed already $35,000 as her share of the national debt. And if you count the unfunded liabilities that Bob talked about, almost $60 trillion total, she owed over $200,000. The other things we can do are avoid the government cost shift. I know I'm almost done here. The problem is Medicare and Medicaid under-reimbursed, and so hospitals and other folks have to charge more to private insurance plans because of that. And we should end that.
Describe this public option as nothing more than a Trojan horse. The whole key here is to undercut the private insurance. If not, why else would you have a government program? No one's going to choose a government program unless it's less expensive. And the reason I can say it's going to work that way is because we just did that out in Hawaii. They had this plan, they offered the government program, and it went bankrupt in 7 months. Get on YouTube and see President Obama claim this himself on multiple videos. He comes out and tells you the ultimate goal is single payer. The only reason you would ever want single payer, which is a no-choice government-run monopoly, is because you want to control people. That's what this whole game's about. They can package it any way they want, but the key is this is a Trojan horse to basically control your health care. It happened in Hawaii, and I just simply wouldn't be trusted. Yeah, we've seen there, we've been there, done that.